One of my questions is, or the piece that I have, is an amendment to the 1986 code, 40 years ago, when it comes to charitable giving and the exemption for people on charitable giving when they use this type of currency to trade it. So, and I'll be the first one to tell you, I have been mystified now for quite some time as to the creation of this, the birth of this whole idea. We have a new currency to deal with. But the question is always going to come from the government is, how do we tax it? How do we figure this out? How do we get it taxed? Mr. Zlotkin, can I ask you, from the perspective of charities and donors, does the current appraisal requirement, on top of the current appraisal requirement, create a meaningful barrier to charitable giving? And would the framework proposed by the committee help address that challenge? And before you answer that, when we did the original Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, I can remember one of our members coming in and talking and saying, you know what, we've got to be careful what we're talking about when it comes to this charitable, because I got a lot of people who I represent are questioning the fact, why should they continue to make charitable donations if there's going to be a tax inference to that? And the answer was, that really shouldn't bother people. If they really want to give to a charity, it shouldn't matter. And they said, really? Watch the numbers go down and then tell me it doesn't have an effect. So if you could, Mr. Slott, because I think this is a very confusing thing, if you can bring some light to it, what can we do? What would the framework proposed by the committee do to help challenge that? I mean, we have to figure out what we're going to do with it and how we're going to tax it or not tax it, or what we're going to do.
Thank you for the question, Congressman. I think the bill, first of all, I think one of the things we've argued very strenuously is for parity with the rest of financial services, that this industry is $2 trillion. And we need rules of the road. We need some clarity associated with that. One of the aspects of that happens to be charitable giving and charitable donations. Right now, if an asset is publicly traded with great frequency on a public exchange like Coinbase, and you can get market data instantly from your phone, you still need an appraisal to give that to charity. That is an inherent impediment to charitable giving. If you have to go in and hire someone to do something that you can just essentially establish on your phone. So one of the great advantages of the bill, actually, is that it introduces parity with publicly traded stocks and it's widely traded digital assets. Widely traded digital assets, as defined, which include lots of safeguards and protections, so that they only apply to assets that have price discovery on public exchanges, rules against self-dealing. All those things are dealt with, and they provide a rule of clarity that you don't need to go and get an appraisal for that. So I think, to your point, it greatly enhances and facilitates the ability to make charitable donations.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think if we make it more complicated for people to be charitable, we're missing the whole point of being in America. So I appreciate you all being here today. This is as we transition and go into this, some people understand this very clearly. But I'm looking at it strictly now from a charitable standpoint. If you have an asset that you can donate and make sure that the charity benefits from it, I don't know why we'd have to go through this other process. So I appreciate your answer on that. And as we go forward, we're going to have a lot more discussions, I'm sure. This is not the way we're all used to things happening, but I'm sure this happened also in prior times when people tried to figure out how this is working and how does currency work, or the lack of currency, or what it is that we do. And so if you have something that's valuable and you want to help a charity, why not be able to do it without having to do this whole process? So I appreciate you all being here today for helping on something that's, I think, as we transition to it, we'll get more used to it. We'll look at it more the way we look at other assets.